Knows Best.
Hi, friends, and welcome back to Brenna Knows Best. I'm your host, Brenna Berg. Hi, how are you guys? Happy Monday. Hi, everybody. How was your Christmas? Was your Christmas great? I hope it was wonderful. I hope if it sucked, it's over with. I hope that you guys had a wonderful time, whether you're by yourself, with your partner's families, with your own family, with nobody, with your dog. I hope you had the best time. Let's freaking talk about my Christmas because it didn't go as planned. Okay. Let's back it up. Last week we caught up, we did the whole shebang, and then we packed and we left Saturday. Number one, I want to talk about something: parking at the airport, because if you don't know, I explained this last week. The Dallas airport is or the DFW airport is about a 30-minute drive, roughly, depending on traffic, but on average about 30 minutes away. I don't know how many miles it is, but from our apartment, okay? And here's the thing, way back in the day, when I first moved to Dallas and I had no money, I used to take the DART to DFW, which is like our subway metro situation. It's not underground, but like the public transportation thing. And you guys, it was fine until it wasn't. This man one time tried to talk to me, and I didn't realize how unsafe it could be. I was new to the city. I was just trying to save a buck because it was $2, but it would take you to the airport. I mean, it would take a little bit, but it was whatever. If an Uber was I don't know how much at that time, I'm going to spend $2. So then I worked my way up to Ubering to the airport, which I think used to be I don't know, $30. I feel this was back 2019, 2020. Well, COVID hit, and all I remember is the Ubers started becoming astronomical. It'd be $60 each way. I'd be paying $120 to just go to and from the airport. I'm like, what the fuck? So finally, at some point, I realized that depending on the length of my trip, which usually my trips aren't that long, parking at the airport was cheaper than Ubering. So I started parking, and mind you, it's so much more convenient. I love just getting back from a trip and then I can just jump in my car and drive home, because also a 30-minute Uber ride can be so fucking annoying depending if the guy's talking to you or whatnot. Oh, wait, one second, you guys. I wanted to have a sip of my Celsius. Was that satisfying? I need a little energy. I'm filming a little bit later in the day than I normally do. I don't know what the fuck I was doing all morning. Oh, I was live for an hour and a half. Okay, wait, let me take a sip. Amazing. Sorry, was that disgusting? Don't care. Okay, so I started parking at the airport, depending on the length of the trip, yada, yada. Sometimes I would have friends drop me. Well, here's the thing. I realized, that there's a prepaid option for the airport. So you can save money to prepay, and it'll give you a QR code. Okay. And you just scan that as you go in, and then you scan it as you go out, and you already paid for it. And it's for example, this trip, if I would have not gotten the prepaid, I think it would have been $120 or $130. If I prepay, it was $95, which is still a lot of money, but saving money is saving money. Okay. A few times back. Okay. Oh, this is where I went wrong. Okay. I used to never have a toll tag. If you don't know what a toll tag is, it is a little sticker on the windshield, because in Dallas, some roads are toll roads, so you have to pay to drive on them. So fucking stupid, if you ask me. And some of you might be like, duh, bitch, we know what a toll is. You guys, I grew up in North Dakota. We don't have toll roads, so I never knew what they were. And here's the thing. Some states, it's all roads are tolls. I remember Illinois used to as soon as you entered the state, you're paying money to drive on the roads. Here in Dallas, it's only particular roads. So for example, you have 75 and you have the tollway that both go north to south. They go essentially, they're a mile apart from one another, maybe. And they go the same direction, but the tollway is typically faster because people will take 75 if they don't want to pay. And they toll roads are typically better roads because you're paying for them. They keep them up to date better, if that makes sense. Well, anyways, to enter and leave DFW, you pay money. So it's $2. Let's say I was dropping you off at the airport. Okay. You go through this little toll thing, right? You have to drive through this toll thing, and you would grab a ticket. And then when you leave, you put the ticket in and it's $2. Or depending if you stayed overnight, it'd be $20 or what have you. But obviously, if you are a Texas resident or person who lives here, you have a toll tag, it just automatically dinks that thing. You know how it like reads it or whatever? So way back in the day, 2019, 2020, 2021, I never had a toll tag. I think up until 2021, until I started nannying. So the nanny fam takes the tollway to school, like you have to. And so I had to get a toll tag to take the kids to school. Okay, does that make sense? So it wasn't until I got a toll tag that one time I went to DFW and I did the prepaid situation. Well, they're supposed to link up. Like you put in your license plate number and your license plate number is attached to your toll tag. But one fucking time, you guys, I prepaid for parking and then I went through and it automatically does the toll. Like I wasn't able to do the QR code because it just reads it and then the gate will open and you're good. I'm like, oh, it'll sync up. No, I got back from my trip and I was leaving. I got charged for parking on the toll tag and then I also prepaid. So like, let's say it was $90 and then $120 to park. I got both the charges. So then after that, I'm like, fuck. So then I stopped prepaying. Because I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm only saving a few bucks. But if it's going to double charge me, like I'm not doing that. Okay, so I've been hesitant. But going into the holiday season, like Carter and I, we have a lot of expenses and things. I was like, I'd love to save money if I could, but I'm really scared to do this pre-parking thing. Well, I was on Google. I'm like, okay, how do I finesse the system? And it's not even finessing. Like, how do I just make sure I don't get fucked? Right? Okay. And I found this thread of people talking about that I can go through the ticket line where you pull a ticket where it doesn't read toll tags. That way you pull a ticket, you just throw that fucking ticket away. But when you leave, you go to the QR thing. And because it didn't read your toll tag on the way in, it won't know how long you were there. So you can scan the QR code. And since you already paid, it'll just lift it up and you're good. So that's what I did. Okay, so we go to the airport Saturday. It's us and Maid Dog. Me, Carter, and Maid Dog. And I do the prepaid and it worked. Okay, which obviously I didn't know until I got back if it was going to work or not, but hello, newsflash, I'm back. It worked. Anywho, we get to the airport, right? And sorry, I glitched. DFW has a ton of different pet relief areas. So we got there earlier than normal because to check Maid Dog in. So, let me explain to you guys, if anybody's curious about checking your dog, people are always like, how do you travel with May? I feel like this could be informational. So depending on the airline, American is kind of the most strict. They say that they have a 21-pound limit, but we did fly with her back in the day when we went on a road trip and she was like 28 pounds. Babes, I'm not shaming you, okay, but you were a little hefty. Then Carter put her on a diet. Sorry, she's right here on the bed, so I just didn't want her to overhear. So she now is down to a healthy weight, but I call ahead American, okay, to tell them that you're going to be carrying on a pet because I think they have a limit of how many people can do that. And so you need a pet carrier that's like a certain dimensions, which product of the week, Roverland. I bought a Roverland pet carrier on Amazon and it was like $150 back in the day, but now I've used it like quite a few times and I've never had issues with it. So if you're in the process, I remember when I was looking, I was like, because so many people are like, they said it was too big. They said this, and I've never had issues. So I highly recommend. And we have the large one. And so we put Maid Dog in and she gets a little bit stressed out in there. She doesn't love being contained, obviously. Who would? But we go to check in and typically we're TSA pre-check, and if we don't have a dog, we show up like 30 minutes early and you can just get through and then you're good. Well, because you have to go through to like the line before you check in, like one of the desks, they will not let you check in on your phone if you have attached a pet to your reservation because they weigh her, you have to fill out some information, you sign a waiver, whatever. Well, we stand in line for a little bit. We get checked in. So we were like an hour early. We then go through TSA pre-check and you just take her out of the bag and then I carry her through the like walking x-ray scan or whatever. And she was so good. I throw her back in the bag and then we go to the pet relief station. We go sit down and then I took her again one more time before we got on the plane. We fly into North Dakota and Barrett picks me up. And you guys, I have a little bit of tea for you. There's a lot of family shit going on, okay? Well, here's the thing. Carter and I, let's flash back to our engagement. Let's flash back to even before that. My dad has been with his girlfriend Pam for like 11 years. Okay. And in the recent years, since I think I've been in Dallas, when I come to Bismarck, I stay at her house. My dad lives essentially at her house. We still have our home, but like he does not stay there ever. And I stay downstairs at her house. Her house is so nice. It's so nice to be with them, whatever. Also, when I text my dad, I text Pam. Like if I need my dad to know something, I'm texting Pam so she tells my dad. So for example, like I did text my dad individually because I didn't want him to feel bad, like the photo of us when Carter got engaged. But like also I'm just imagining Pam showing him the photo. So I texted them both right away. But then once we got the professional photos, I sent them all to Pam and whatever, yada, yada. So this was like Thanksgiving. Well, week goes by. Pam texts me about the holidays or something like loose. And I said, oh, by the way, this was like a week before we were leaving. This was quite literally a week before Saturday. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Pam, I've been meaning to like reach out to my dad. We're bringing May dog because I wasn't sure for a really long time if we were, but with the UTI, I was on the fence. Okay. I texted her. I'm like, we are going to bring May. I don't know if it's okay if she stays at your house, but LaDonna said she can stay there. I just want you guys to know that she'll be with. So when my dad picks us up from the airport, we might have to drop her at LaDonna and Gordy's right away because I didn't want her at your house. Well, Pam calls me. Okay. This is quite literally, you guys, a week before we're coming home. And she goes, hey, Brenna, like, have you talked to your dad? And I'm like, no, we don't speak. Not actually, but like, no, I talk via you and she knows this. Well, she tells me that her and my dad have kind of been on a break for 6 weeks. Okay. And to you, as I say that, you're probably like, okay. Well, as she says this, number one, I'm like, oh my freaking God, of course, like, what's going on? Are you guys okay? Like, I'm so sorry. Are you good? Not only that, number two, I said 6 weeks. We got engaged like 3 weeks ago. I'm like, my dad has not seen our engagement photos. I have not spoken to my dad since that day. I had been assuming, because I had no reason to believe otherwise, that she was relaying the message, but nobody seemed to tell me that they were not together. And I'm like, oh my God, I have not spoken to my dad. Like, it's I'm like, oh my God. But more so, I'm like, are you okay? And I don't know the details and I don't know. But she's like, yeah, he's been staying out at the house. But she's like, I ran into him at darts and I think that he's getting it ready for you. I'm like, oh my God, no, this is not your problem to deal with. Let me call him. I'm like, I am so sorry. I just assumed. And she's like, no, I thought he would have told you by now. I'm like, yeah, no, I get why you would think that. But my dad also, this is so who he is. You guys, can I tell you a story? One time, okay, my dad dated oh my gosh, I was talking about this last week. Wait, did I already tell you this? Okay, really quick if I didn't. No, I'm pretty sure I did. The woman I was talking about last week that my dad dated when I was a kid. Okay, when they broke up, I came back to my house and all of her shit was gone. My dad didn't say a word. He said she's going to live with her parents. And that was that. There was not a conversation. Granted, I was a kid at the time. Like he didn't owe me shit. I probably wouldn't have understood anyways. Like I was a middle schooler. But with that being said, it's not shocking that my dad hasn't spoken to me. So anyways, I get off the phone with Pam and we shed a little tear. She was like, I felt so bad. And she has become like a second mom to me. And anyways, it was like this thing, whatever. It was a quick phone call. I text my dad. I said, hey dad, just spoke to Pam. Did not know this was all happening. You know, call me later if you want, but like we're coming. May's with us. What's going on? Where am I sleeping? I don't know where I'm sleeping. And this is just as much my fault because I didn't reach out to him. But again, for the past like 5 years minimum, I've just been like reaching out to Pam and she texts because my dad, you guys, like he'll go to work and I'll text him. He won't answer for like 3 business days. He's like, oh, my phone was at work. I'm like, what the fuck do you mean your phone? Like, he's just like not that guy. So it's just way easier because Pam's more with the times. So he calls me that night as I'm picking up Carter from work. So this is like Thursday or Friday. Oh, no. This is like, I don't know when it was. It doesn't matter. And he's like, hey, and he's like, yeah, sorry, I didn't tell you. He was like, I was hoping that, you know, this little break or breakup would be done. Like he was thinking they would get back together. And honestly, I don't know what the fuck is going on. And honestly, I don't even need to know. Like it's none of my business. But I was like, no worries, Dad. I'm sorry that I didn't reach out and like communicate with you about May and where I'm staying. And he's like, no, I've been getting the house ready for you. Like nobody has lived there in a really long time. And my dad has used it as a storage unit. Like the last time I went in there, you guys, you could not see the floor of the living room. Like there were a washer and dryer in the living room and there was rolled up carpet and there were literal tires in my living room. But like, you guys might think that's insane, but it's like so not insane for my father. Like, this is so on brand for him. But he's like, I've been getting the house ready so you guys can stay at the house in the upstairs bedroom and yada yada. I'm like, okay, got it. Well, I called my grandma and she's like, oh, of course she knew, because at Thanksgiving, Pam wasn't there and she knows everything. But she's like, I didn't want to tell you because I didn't think that was my place. And I was like, oh my God, no, grandma, of course not. But I'm like, oh my fucking God. This has been happening for like, so I had no idea. I felt bad that my dad didn't talk to me. I don't know. I text my brother. I'm like, hey, just so you know. And he's like, oh my God, nobody knows, which is not a big deal, but it's also like, what the fuck? Again, very on brand for my family. So we fly in and my dad picks me up and he said May could stay at his house. So we got in late on Saturday. So we went straight out to the house, and you guys, he has cleaned that shit up. There was nothing in the living room. He's like, don't open one of those bedroom doors because all of the shit is jam-packed in there. But it was so weird. I have not been in that home in so long. And this is my childhood home. Like the home I was raised in. My dad, the only house I've lived in my whole life. We never moved. That is our house, our little 2-bedroom, 1-bath house. Oh my gosh, blast from the past. Okay, I'm like, Carter, welcome. This is where I was raised. And we go to the bedroom. It's a king bed, God bless, because my brother was 6'5" growing up. Well, he's still 6'5". Hello, he hasn't shrunk. And so he had to like lay diagonal. Beds were always kind of too short for him. So he had a big bed. So we got that bed. It was a little bit hard. I mean, this bed is old as fuck. I don't think Carter slept that well. I kind of felt bad, but I was like, whatever. Anyways, we go to bed. We wake up Sunday morning and we go to LaDonna and Gordy's. I'm like, okay, let's get the frick out of here. My dad gave us a Tahoe. We drive in. I give her a bookmark. I was going to have her open her I'm not about all of that stuff. So I gave her that. Oh, we ran to Target first because we had to get fresh pet for May. We had to get her food. We grabbed some Celsiuses and then we grabbed chocolates for Gordy because I didn't get Gordy a gift. And so we get there and yeah, we hung out with them all morning. My brother had gotten in the night before, but he was just staying out at my mom's house to spend time with her out at the house. I don't fucking know. But Sunday night was when we were doing dinner at my mom's. Okay. Oh, let's also back it up. My mom calls me like a day before we're leaving and she's like, hi. And like, you guys know me and my mom don't really talk. And we had planned though for a Sunday night dinner with my brother and his wife, Ashley, my mom and her boyfriend, and then us two. So that was the plan. That's how we were going to celebrate Christmas because we were all going to leave on Christmas Day. And like when we were kids, I told you guys that we did Christmas Day at my mom's house. So we just needed a different day. Well, and Carter was going to have to work on Monday. So I was like, let's just do it Sunday, which was perfect. Well, okay. She calls me the day before we're leaving while we're still in Dallas. And she goes, hey, and she's kind of like talking and whatever. And she's like, I have a question. I'm like, spit it out. She goes, well, your grandma Panko wants to come over for our Christmas dinner. And let me tell you who that is. That is my dad's mom. Okay. This is my dad's mother. Are my parents divorced? Yes. Have they been divorced my whole life? Yes. My dad doesn't have a relationship with his mom, but my mom keeps in touch with her. And also, let me just say, this grandma is crazy. Okay, you guys, like, actually crazy. Okay, I'm just going to stop it there. I don't need to bash her. She's a wonderful lady. She's just out there. And I haven't seen her in quite a few years. Oops, that's not good. I know. But apparently she had spoken to my mother and she wanted to come. But actually, as my mom told me this, I said, no, that's okay. Because here's the thing. Oh, the problem with this and the reason she was bringing this up to me is because somebody has to pick her up. My grandma has never been able to drive. As long as I've been alive, they revoked her driver's license. Again, God only knows why. And she's lived at this home. So like you have to pick her up and drop her off. And it's always a fiasco. She then, once you pick her up, she wants to go to CVS and she wants to go here and she wants to go there. It's like always an escapade. But I was kind of like not... Oh, Brenna, tread lightly. I've been a little bit nervous about going to my mom's house only because my mom drinks quite a bit and they now also smoke. Oh yeah, my mom smokes cigarettes. This is not shocking to a lot of people. Like for example, again, and Carter comes from like this very Mormon family. Not a single soul in his family smokes. Me growing up, the only person in my family who didn't smoke cigarettes was my dad. LaDonna used to, Gordy used to, my mom, my stepdad, my grandma Panko, everybody. Okay, so this is not shocking to me. When I was a kid, my mom and my stepdad used to smoke cigarettes in the house. Okay, like I'm talking so bad. Okay, Gordy and LaDonna have since stopped. My mom, she never stopped. She said full fucking sent. So my mom did tell me recently that her and her boyfriend now smoke in the house. So I've just been like, oh my God, feeling so bad for Carter about what we're about to walk into. I don't know how bad it is. You know, my mom's drinking. Like it's something that stresses me out. Okay. So when my mom says she wants to come, I'm like, oh, actually, because usually I'd be like, why do I have to pick her up? Right. Well, it depends. But I'm like, okay, perfect, because we can pick her up at a certain time and then it's an excuse to leave. We'll have to drop her off. So it'll just like make the time there a short and stout time. And also short and stout, I don't know. My grandma, she's crazy, but she's hysterical. Okay, she's insane. And at this point, like, she's just funny to me. So I'm like, oh, perfect. It'll be another personality. That way, if I, get annoyed with the situation, like we have somebody else to focus on, right? So I'm like, yes, I'll pick her up. Perfect. So Sunday, we hang out at LaDonna and Gordy's all day long. And I plan to pick my grandma up at 3:30 from her little home. So we drive on over. Okay. And you guys, it's like I don't know how you describe it, because it's not like an assisted living. It's just like older people who live in these apartments, but they don't have help, I don't think. Or my grandma definitely doesn't, but I don't think any of them do. It's not like nurses are there, or maybe there are a handful. I don't really know what to call it. It's just like an old person's home. Okay. So there are these apartments. Well, she's always outside smoking cigarettes. Oh my gosh, she smokes like crazy. But she had called me at like 3 and was like, hey, are you coming? I'm outside smoking. I'm like, oh, we'll be there at 3:30. So she was in the lobby when we pulled up. And again, you guys, you never know what the fuck is going to come out of her mouth. We walk in and all of the old people sit down here in the lobby. There's like 15 people and they're all a little bit, well, I associate them, like I always think that they're like her, like they've got to be off their rocker a little bit. So I'm always a little bit scared, but we walk in. Okay. And you guys, Carter has not met my mom, hasn't met my brother, hasn't met my mom's boyfriend, my brother's wife at this point yet. And so we walk in and the first thing she says, and she like screams it. She's like, I get to meet you before Brenna's mom, but like so loud. Everybody looks at us. I'm like, oh my God, Carter's dying. And he's like, oh my God, this is his first impression. I'm like, no, she's out there. She doesn't give a frick. Okay. So I'm like, yeah, give her a hug. Merry Christmas. We get her in the car. Carter was so kind. He like helped kind of lift her up and we're in the car. I'm driving. Carter's in the passenger seat and she's behind him. And she can't hear very well. And I don't know if this is like a recent development or what, but it's really bad. So Carter was trying to talk to her, but she couldn't. I think she kind of needs to read lips. So I was like driving, but trying to like turn around so she could read my lips. But all of a sudden, you guys, she's quiet. She's like looking around and she goes, what ethnicity are you? Asking Carter, and I know you guys don't know what Carter looks like, but you guys, he is white and has like black hair. Like he looks just like normal, I think. I don't think he looks like anything. He's Italian and he's Hungarian. Okay, like that's his ethnicity. So Carter looks back at her, or no, he like is trying to yell back and he's like, what ethnicity do you think I am? So I turn around, I'm like, what ethnicity do you think he is? And she goes, you kind of look Mexican. Maybe she didn't even say kinda, and she just like blurts it out. It's like the way that she speaks. And Carter, I don't think I've ever seen him laugh harder. And this was also after a few other conversations of her just like saying God only knows what. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And he was like, nope, close, but not even. And so he's dying. And so we pull up to my mom's house, and my mom lives a little bit out of town, and she's already hammered when we get there. And I'm just like, oh my God, great. Here we go. The house reeks. I think she probably tried to smoke less in the house before all of us were coming, but like that smell does not go away. I already have a headache. I'm like, oh my fucking God. But I see my brother and his wife, and I quite literally almost cried, you guys. I'm like, oh my gosh, I just love them. Me and my brother were so close growing up. He's 30 now. Like it's just so wild. But yeah, so Carter says hello to my mom, says hello obviously to everybody. Her boyfriend was like in town at the time doing God knows what. And so we sit down and we just start chit-chatting, and obviously like my grandma Grandma Panko, again, thank God she was there. It was like a lot of the entertainment. Like she's talking and she's just saying whatever. Oh my gosh, Carter started asking her. He said, who's your favorite son? Because it's my dad and his brother. And she answered, oh. He also asked, who are your favorite grandchildren? Guess who was the least favorite? Me. She literally said she didn't want to answer, but I egged her on. I'm like, no, go ahead. And so she liked the other two first because they stayed in town. They live in Bismarck. Or no, actually, one does, and then one moved. And then it was my brother, and then it was me. But it's, again, like so funny. She's just like crazy, you guys. So then we eat dinner, and then we open gifts. And then I said, Grandma, we're wrapping it up. We got to get out of here. So then we left at 8. We drop her off. It was good. It was fine. It was dandy. Okay. We go back out to my dad's house. We shower because we stunk. I'm like, put your clothes in a basket. We'll take it to LaDonna and Gordy's to get the smoke out of it. And so whatever. Anywho, it was even like my hair. I'm just like, oh, sorry. Okay. Just had to get that off my chest. Anyways, we wake up Monday. We immediately go to LaDonna and Gordy's. I'm like, okay, we're spending all day here because Carter was leaving on Christmas Eve to go to his family's, to go to California. Okay. And this is another thing with like Christmas and leading up to it. And I think why it was so stressful is like, there's just so many moving parts. Like we were trying to figure out what to do and flying and all of this, because with Christmas in the middle, like we were there Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then Carter wanted to go to California for a few days to see his family as well, which totally, I don't care. And the thing is also, I was like, yeah, just leave. Cause he was like, I'll leave Christmas Day or the day after and then just spend. And I was like, no, honestly, just go. Like if you spend a couple days with each, you'll see everybody. And then like Christmas Eve is my whole entire family, and it's my extended family who I love on like my LaDonna and Gordy side, but it's also like the people that you need to see is my parents and my grandparents. Like that's like who matters the most, obviously. So I was like, no, just go on Christmas Eve. Then you'll be there for Christmas Day because they do this huge thing at his grandpa's house or grandparents' house, sorry. And they tried to get me to go, but I was like, no, I'm just going to fly home. I literally flew home on Christmas Day. I was like, I'm going to have to film the pod, whatever. I was like, that's too much for me. Like, again, I have this weird thing with the holidays. It's not like my favorite thing in the world. So I'm just like, whatever. We all obviously decided this all beforehand. But anyway, so Monday, Carter had to work. You guys, he was so busy. He worked all day. He worked 9 to 5. So LaDonna set up her craft room for him, and he was in there all day long. He would come out to like grab a coffee, or he would set like a 5-minute timer and he would come and chit chat with us and then go back in there. But he was basically busy all day. Oh, you guys, I forgot to mention one other thing too. So because we were at my grandma and grandpa's on Sunday, I had talked to my mom that day before coming, and I was like, Mom, we're bringing May, but she has like a little mutt dog. And I'm like, is she going to be chill? And my mom's like, no, like her dog is insane. She's like, she can come, but it's just going to be kind of annoying. Like she's probably going to be going batshit. So I was like, oh my gosh, okay, LaDonna, do you want to have a sleepover with May Dog? So we left May Dog with my grandma on Sunday. So when we dropped my grandma Pinko off, we just went back to my dad's house, and we didn't have May that night. So we get there the next morning, and LaDonna slept on the couch with May on her chest. And I'm like, and she loved it. Oh my gosh. Okay. So yes, we were there. Carter was working, and then my brother and his wife came a little bit afternoon. Oh, and my dad came. And actually my dad came from like 11 to 1. He didn't even see Carter the first time he was there because Carter did not leave the room. But then my dad left. He had to like run some errands or something. We hung out, and then my grandma, before I even came, had bought the ingredients for me to make the chicken tortellini. She loves it. And she's like, make it for everybody. And I'm like, oh my gosh, of course. She was like, you don't have to if you don't want to, but I think they would love it. Which my brother and my dad are quite literally the world's pickiest eaters. Okay. And so I was like, they're not going to eat it, but they did. Okay. So that evening, Carter finally gets done, and we play rummy. So me, grandma, grandpa, Carter, my brother, and Ashley. Oh, at first we played around, and me and Carter were just one because sure enough, the second we started, he had to run and go work. So he was like in and out of that game. And then I made dinner. My dad came back, and then we played another game of cards after, and it was so nice. It was like, we have not sat down. Well, number one, again, I haven't seen my brother in 2.5 years. Hello. So we have not. Even before that, me and my brother were like missing holidays. So we haven't been able to like sit down and play cards. Like we used to do that all the time. So it was so great. And Carter obviously knows how to play. So it was so much fun. And then, yeah, that night we went home, and then this is where the fun begins. And I'm going to try not to be too descriptive, okay? But we go home, we go to bed, and this is Monday night going into Tuesday. So Carter's flight was leaving that morning. We were going to take him to the airport at like 7. Okay. Oh, and we also got a notice. So his flight was originally supposed to leave at 7:50. Well, the day prior it was like pushed back to 8:30. But this was his first flight. He had to connect to Minneapolis because, of course, Bismarck doesn't have any direct flights other than DFW, Denver, and Minneapolis. So to fly to California, he was going to Minneapolis, which was like an hour-long flight, and then connecting. Well, the day before it got pushed back. So his layover was really short. And I was like, oh my God, I swear to God, if he gets stuck at the Minneapolis airport, I'm going to lose my goddamn mind. I would feel so bad because I booked the flights. Like I got all of it taken care of for us. And so because mine was just there and back, his, I had to do a one-way and then a one-way and then a one-way. So anywho, I was like, oh my God, I would feel so bad, which obviously we can't control it. But we go to bed. Tuesday is Christmas Eve. I wake up, you guys, at 2 a.m. and I was facing the wall and like my face was hot. I felt like I don't even know what. I felt so off. And then all of a sudden my stomach was going crazy. I was literally tooting. And at this point I was safe. Okay. I felt it rumbling and I'm like, oh my gosh. And then it hit me. I was like, oh, I'm going to throw up. I get out of bed. I go to the bathroom and both ends, y'all. Okay. Throwing up and also diarrhea. Okay. Sorry. I'm not trying to be gross, but quite literally I was like, oh my gosh, all of a sudden it hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm throwing up and it was so weird because I'm in my childhood home, right? And when you're a kid, like getting sick, I remember like throwing up and then I remember having a little trash can with the bag next to my bed. Like it just brought back so many things, like sitting at that toilet in the bathroom is the exact same as it was as a kid. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And I'm also like, oh my God, I'm thinking back. I'm like, did I not cook the chicken enough? Like, is everybody else going to be sick? I was so terrified. It was 2 a.m. Like Carter was still sleeping. My dad was still sleeping downstairs, but I'm like, oh my God, I swear to God. Cause at the moment I'm like, it had to have been something I ate. So yeah, I throw up. I'm in the bathroom. I'm in there for a good 30 or 45 minutes. And then I go out to the living room and I just lay on the couch. I'm like, I'm not going to be going in and out of the bedroom because Carter's sleeping. I don't want to wake him up. I lay there because right after you throw up, you feel immediately better. It's like, oh, I'm cured. But then like if you're sick, it keeps coming back. Well, so at like 2:30 or 2:45, I went to the couch. I fell back asleep. At 4, I woke up. I'm back in the bathroom. Okay. And then I brought in, like I had towels because I would be freezing. And then all of a sudden I would throw up and I'm like sweating. And so I grabbed towels, I grabbed one of the Thai fuzzy blankets, and then at 4, I was in there again, whatever, and I heard my dad come up the stairs because our house is so old, it like creaks and stuff. I could hear, and I'm like, oh shit, he has to use the bathroom. So, or he heard me. So I finish up, like I don't know if I had quite finished, but I walk out and my hands are on my hips and he's like, little girl, are you okay? And I'm like, no, I'm like throwing up. He's like, oh gosh. And actually, so him and Pam have been kind of communicating a little because I told you, like, I don't really know what's going on, but she was sick the day before. He had told me the day before that she was throwing up. She went to brunch with her son and her son's wife, and then she had been throwing up. So I'm like, that's weird. She didn't know if it was something she ate, but he's like, oh no. And my dad hadn't seen her. So there's like no correlation, but it was just odd. Anyways, I'm like, oh my gosh, but I'm like, go to the bathroom. And so he goes to the bathroom, he comes back out, and I'm like, I go back in, and then I lay down. Oh no, actually, I went into the room because I threw up and I felt better. So then I went into the bedroom, and 6 o'clock rolls around. Again, it was like every 2 hours, or, I'd be in the bathroom for like 30, 45 minutes. So then an hour would go by. I'd like snooze for a little bit. I woke back up. So it was 6 a.m. I go back in again, same thing. And I'm like hot, I'm cold. I'm like such a hot mess. And Carter's alarm was going off. So I hear his alarm go off. So after I was like feeling somewhat okay, I go in and I sit at the end of the bed and he's like, what's going on? And I'm like, babe, I'm not well. And he's like, oh no. And he felt so bad. And he was like, do I move my flight? Like, I don't want to leave you like this. Like, oh my gosh. I'm like, no. And he's like, should I get an Uber? And I'm like, well, just wait. My dad will probably come back upstairs. He didn't need to go to the airport until like 7:30 or something. I go back in the bathroom and then I'm sitting on the floor Oh, at 6 a.m. I went back in there. I slept on the floor at one point in the bathroom for a little bit. Maybe that was like from 4 to 5. I don't know, you guys. And so Carter comes in. He's like brushing his teeth. I'm just like sitting there and he's like, oh my gosh. And then I hear my dad come up and he was like, do you need a ride? And of course I'm like, yes, please. Thank you. For Carter, obviously. And I thought maybe if I threw up, I would have enough time to like take him. And I'm like, no. So we sit on the couch for a second. I'm miserable. And Carter's like, I can't leave you, yada, yada. I'm like, you're fine. Like, what are you going to sit here? It's Christmas Eve. So like, I was planning to go to LaDonna and Gordy's all day, but Carter and my dad get up. I just give him kind of like a side hug. I wasn't going to kiss him. Obviously I didn't know what was going on. I had texted after they left, I texted LaDonna and Gordy and I texted my brother and his wife. And I'm like, are you guys okay? Like, is everybody good? LaDonna texted me back immediately. She's like, yeah, we're good. What's going on? Oh, and we had accidentally left May's food at my grandma's because remember she had stayed the night. So I was like, Dad, when you go by, and he was like, do you need anything like Sprite, ginger ale, like not chips, crackers? And I'm like, honestly, everything sounds fucking repulsive right now. No, but I'm like, May's food is at grandma's. He's like, I can just go buy some. And I'm like, no, just go grab the bag. And I think she has Sprite. So I knew that they were going over there, but I wanted to text her anyways. But my dad dropped Carter off and then he went over there. He grabbed May's food. He grabbed Sprite. And again, I was on and off all morning. And then, I was so dehydrated. And again, at this point, so my brother finally texted me, they were fine. And I went into the bedroom. But then at this point, my body, you guys, it was like muscle aches. It wasn't necessarily like the normal aches you get when it's like a flu or something, but there was not a single position that I could sit or lay in that was comfortable. Like I laid this way, my hips hurt. I laid this way, it was like my legs. Like I was so uncomfortable in my body. I slowly started trying to drink water and then I would throw it up. I'm just like, oh my gosh. Finally around noon, because I would just take tiny sips, but then it just like all felt like I was just nauseous. My dad was hanging out at the house all day. So around noon, I came out and sat with him, but I was like in and out of snoozing. So was he. Maydog was with us, which was good. And then he was like, I don't think you should, which obviously I wasn't going to LaDonna's at that point, but we did like a dinner. He's like, I don't want you to get them sick because obviously they're old and we just don't know what it is. If it's I don't know. And I was like, honestly, I'm in no shape. Like I would be so uncomfortable there. So I missed my family's Christmas Eve. My dad stayed with me until about 5 and then he went over there and he was texting me asking how I was or if I needed anything. And then around 8, and also Carter. So Carter went to the airport. His flight was a little bit delayed. He made it to Minneapolis and thankfully he made it with like 5 minutes to spare. And then he had, 3.5 hour flight to California. He was working on the plane. So he had texted me a little bit later and he was just feeling so bad. But I'm like, babe, if you would have stayed, like I would have just been sitting here it would have just been miserable for everybody. So like, thank God he left. And I go to bed at like 8 or I go into the bedroom. I can't even be on my phone. When you're just so uncomfortable. My dad had a TV show on the entire time, this Landman, which is a lot like Yellowstone. It was really good. But like, again, I'm in and out of it. I'm snoozing. Like I was just so uncomfortable. It was so brutal. LaDonna felt so bad. I hated that I missed out an entire day with them because I thought I was going to obviously have that whole day to be there. But I mean, obviously I couldn't control this. And then I went to bed around 8. I just put my phone down. I tossed and turned. And then I woke up Christmas Day morning and I felt good. Towards like as the day went on, I felt less and less nauseous. I didn't eat all day long. Like food just felt so repulsive. We woke up. I felt better, good, fine. Thank God, because I was flying out that day. So we went to LaDonna and Gordy's. I said hello. We sat there for like 2 hours and just kind of talked and everything was good. I obviously kept my distance. And at this time I don't really care what it is. I just wanted to feel better. I didn't need to diagnose myself. It wasn't until I posted on my story when I got home that a few people said that there was a stomach bug going around. And then a nurse had said like norovirus, or a couple of people had said that. And I looked it up and I had every single symptom. It was like 24 hours. It just came on so strong and then it was gone. But I didn't eat all morning. Like grandma was like, LaDonna was like, do you want this or that or the other? And I'm like, no. Because I also didn't want to get sick before the flight. I'm like, I cannot be sick with Maydog and just getting back. Like, no. And then you guys, after we left, Dad was like, do you want to go to Pam's? Like I spoke to her. I think she would love seeing you because obviously she's been a part of my life for so long and like they're still working out there, whatever. So we go to her house. My brother and his wife actually met us there because they were about to drive home. So they just stopped by for a quick 15 minutes. We spoke, said hello, said goodbye. They left. And then my dad took me and May to the airport at like 1. And I still hadn't eaten at this point. I had a Celsius. I'd been sipping on one to have some caffeine because like I had a headache, probably because I haven't eaten, probably because I hadn't had caffeine. Like it was just, I was a hot goddamn mess. And then I got back here. I had pretzels on the flight. May slept the entire plane. And we got back home. We, landed at 5:45, got to the car, didn't get home till 6:30. I fed May and we got into bed. I finished the book, One Perfect Couple by Ruth Ware. And it was good, you guys. It was not what I was expecting. Like Ruth Ware, I would say it's kind of a mystery thriller, but it's kind of just like a thriller. So basically, if you haven't read it, it's these people that get casted to be on a reality TV show called One Perfect Couple. And then it's on a deserted island. A huge storm comes through and like people start getting killed off one by one. It's really good. Okay, it's really good. But anyways, okay, I kind of just jumped into the book update. That's that. Then we got back, you guys, on Christmas Day, went to bed. Yeah, and I've just been hanging out and now we're here. Okay, that's the whole update. Christmas presents, I got a few books. I got The Boyfriend, Frida McFadden. I just started it last night. I'm already hooked. I'm probably going to finish it today. I got a Riley Sager book, The House Across the Lake. Nope, not that one. A different one. I'll put it on my story. And then I got Hidden Pictures from my mom. I also got a little bit of money and that was pretty much it. I got some photos from LaDonna. Yeah, that was pretty much it. Oh, my brother's wife got us a couple engagement gifts. So a few like matching mugs with like for forever or till forever, the cheesy little whatevers, a few like bridal things, and then a couple of other cups that had like ring fingers on them, cutesy little things. And yeah, that was that. That was great. Whatever. And now we're here. I finished One Perfect Couple and now I'm reading The Boyfriend. And that's all I have on that. Okay, 45 minutes later, let's talk about New Year's resolutions, shall we? Oh my gosh, you guys, wait. Okay, so I have my like goals, resolutions, like they're not even specific goals. It's just like guidelines I want to follow for the new year because I think building habits is better than having like, I want to do X. Not like, not better, but it's better for me. I have such a hard time like with a huge goal, you need to break it up into things. So I think setting the habits is better. However, you guys, I have finance goals or like finance guidelines, okay? But there are a lot of things that I've been wanting to purchase or that me and Carter have been talking about purchasing. So I made a list. Can we go through this really quickly? I only have one thing in small items. So literally in my notes app, okay, it has things I want to buy in bold. And then I have big items, medium items, small items. There's only one in the small items and you guys are going to love it. However, let's break it down. There's not a lot of things. There's like 10 things here, but in big items, okay, that's how I have it listed. Couch. We so badly want a couch, you guys. Our couch sucks. It's like an IKEA couch that Carter's had for forever. A coffee machine, because apparently that's a new thing on our list. A car and a house. Which these are big ticket items. I mean, the coffee machine compared to a house is like, I get not in the same, but if it's above like $500, that to me is a big purchase, right? There are a lot of other things, but I want to have an ongoing list. That way, when we're breaking down our finances and our budgets, like we know what we're shooting towards. Okay. Medium items that I want to buy. And medium is where you get me. This is like $50 to $500. Things that I think twice about every purchase, but things that I just like, I don't need, these aren't needs, they're wants. So something above $50 that like isn't an absolute need, but like it would change my life, I think, a little bit. There are 5 things listed here as of right now. Okay, I'm going to continue to add to this list. Again, that way, once I get money, I can think about, okay, what do I want the most? I'll probably like re-rank them. Right now, they just were like what came to my brain. Okay, a bigger duvet and a duvet cover. You guys know that our king size bed, we have a king size duvet, but like Carter steals the fuck out of it, and then I don't have a blanket, so I use a fuzzy blanket. So I think we need to get there like extendo ones, like longer ones that are bigger. I also heard that like in Iceland or Norway or somewhere like that, they use 2 duvets, and I'm all for it. Carter really wants to be like a cuddly, lovey family. I'm like, I just want to get comfortable sleep, but I think our solution is just getting an extended king size, or like whatever that is, a California king duvet, just something that extends farther on each side, because the one we have now does not work. It's something I've been thinking about for forever, but again, duvets and duvet covers are like a few $100s for like good quality ones. So it's like, okay, next, new plates and dishes. We have blue plates, you guys, also IKEA. I get it. Carter brought them from his last, like they're the ones that he bought when he moved to Dallas, but I would like to get white ones and just different ones. Like our bowls, I would like to get more deep bowls. You know, you have your specific wants. Okay. Anyways, next, art above the couch. You guys, I would love to get art everywhere. Oh, you know what I need to add? Not even just a headboard, but like a whole entire base. I kind of just want to get the matching one from IKEA, but again, it's like $200 or something. It's like not huge, but it's like also not a need. But art, like I need to decorate, you guys. But then again, I'm like, are we going to live here for that long? So I go back and forth, but whatever. New clothes. Basically just a new wardrobe. So that would be hundreds of dollars. So that's in this category. A diamond necklace. I think, you guys, number one, my winter necklace broke. I'm pissed about it, but I have been wanting, I love the winter necklace. It's iconic. I could probably get it fixed, but I have been wanting to just get a simple diamond like pendant or something just simple and basic, classic to wear every day. Like I think I'm reaching that point. I'm 27. Not like you can't wear whatever the fuck you want at any age, but like something just timeless, okay, that I can have forever, but like a nice one, obviously gold and like, you know, lab diamond or like whatever the pendant is, or just like a gold pendant of sorts. I don't know, but like real, that way I can keep it on all the time. Same to my winter necklace. Okay, so that's for medium items. That's what I have for right now. There are other things that will come to me, probably in the smaller items category that I'm just not thinking about right now, but I have one item in smaller. And it's the Akatar series because it's $48 at Target and Walmart. And again, you guys, it's like just not a need right now. I do want to read it. However, I just cannot make the purchase yet. I'll get there. But that's a list I have going. So I would suggest to you that way. And if it's like small items, somebody said this about Christmas. They said that they keep an ongoing notes app. So like when they see something on Amazon or on TikTok and it's like a smaller item, like maybe it's a new water bottle or whatever, they add it to this list. That way for birthdays and Christmas, they can give to their family and friends. Or, you know, once you do find that like you want to splurge on a little something or get yourself a little something nice, you have this list and you can kind of like decide what you really want. I love that. Okay, let's get into New Year's goals. Okay, I have Operation Glow Up. I thought about making TikTok videos on these things, but I don't know. Again, I got back, and since I've been sick, I've been a little wonky, so I need to get back into my rhythm. And just around this time, like holidays and New Year's. Oh, you guys, New Year's. Oh my gosh, happy almost New Year's. If you're listening to this before, I hope you guys have so much fun. Be safe. Please be so safe. Just driving, even getting an Uber, you guys. There's a bunch of drunk drivers out at a bar. Just like be safe. Okay, be healthy. Have so much fun though, whatever you decide to do. If you stay in, I think we're going to go to a Stars game. I really want to. I think that would be fun, but I haven't pulled the trigger on tickets yet. I think Carter will work that day. So I'm like, if he's exhausted, we're either going to go to a Stars game or we're going to stay in and do like board games and such. But yeah, that's all. We'll catch up obviously next week on what we do. But before I forget to tell you, Happy New Year's. And this is going to be your best New Year yet. Your best year yet? I mean, it is a new year, but it's going to be great. You're going to do great things. Cut off those toxic people. Okay, we'll kind of talk about this a little, but first of all, for me, here's what I have in my physical health section. Number one, Pilates. Again, I'm still going back and forth. It's expensive. Going to like a Legree studio or Sodcore, it's like $200 a month. I don't know if I'm like quite ready to do that. But there also is, you can watch YouTube videos. Like there's at-home stuff you can do, but definitely going to the gym. So I have Pilates/gym minimum 4 times a week. I just need to get back into it. I need to be working on muscle. Walking is so good for you, and you can start there, but I know that I need to lift and like actually exert a little bit more energy. So that's something that I want to do. Minimum at 10,000 steps a day, which I already do. That's easy for me. Drink 2 water bottles before noon. Okay, so my Brewmate or my Stanley, these are 40 ounces. So as long as I drink 2 of these before noon, the rest of the day, like I'm constantly sipping on water. I'll hit about a liter, I think is what it is. About 100 ounces is like what I think I'm aiming for. That's a good, healthy amount. Again, I don't want to get caught up in like this and that. If I drink 2 of these, if that's my goal before noon, I'm going to be good. And it just feels good. You guys, once I get later in the day, I get a headache, whatever. I'm like, oh, I haven't drank my water. So if I hydrate early, that is the best and what works for me. So that's my goal. Eating whole foods and no processed foods. This is something, and Carter said he wants to cut out sugar. So we're going to kind of manipulate this. This was my own stuff that I made before I've talked to Carter. So when he gets back, we're going to sit down, do a finance and do a physical health because he wants to hit it hard. Okay. And then my last thing is no drinking alcohol, which you guys know this whole last year, I didn't drink alcohol. So easy, already done. But again, these things that I just want to keep doing. And like, I don't want to rebrand. I don't want to change myself. I want to just keep adding good habits. Next. Okay, let's do mental health. I only have a few things in this one. I have no phone until an hour after I wake up. When I get up, no checking the motherfucking phone because I start scrolling. I need to just get my ass down to the gym and read for the first hour. Like it's too early to be bombarded. Like you get distracted. You are so unproductive. Like I'll sit on the couch with May and I'll be scrolling. No, enough. That's what I'm doing. I'm done. Okay, so that's number 1. Number 2, which I already do this, but I wanted to also talk to you guys about it because I think it's a good thing. Unfollowing anybody who doesn't motivate, inspire, or make me feel good, or that you're close with, like a friend, obviously. Social media, you have the power to curate to whatever you want to see. Quit following people that make you feel shitty, whether they intend to or not. It could be the most motivational person, but if whatever they're doing makes you feel bad about yourself, enough. Block. I don't care. Life is too short and social media should be a good thing. It can be a really, really bad thing, but it should be a good thing. So that. And then lastly, I didn't even finish this one. Hang with friends minimum, I should put twice a month. And this is like each individual friend, maybe just once a month, because let's be realistic. I really need to just like make sure it's so easy. And my friends are so like go with the flow and they're like, no biggie. And they cancel and I cancel and it's whatever. But it's like, no, when I see my friends, they fill my cup so much. This also goes for the nanny family. This goes for everybody. My own family. I want to go home at least, I think 2 or 3 times a year, which to some people is nothing. To some people is a lot. Like they fill my cup and our relationships are everything. So that's what I want to do. I'm going to keep adding to these. I might make TikTok videos on them. Okay. But then lastly, okay, I have finances. Okay. I have a work one, but I'm not going to go over that with you guys because it's kind of just like posting like all of my work stuff. You probably don't give a shit. So I'm going to leave that. And I'm still working on that. But financial health. Okay. Number 1, maxing out my Roth IRA, $7,000. Got it. Do that. Done. Not buying new skincare or makeup until I'm fully out, which again, I don't do this, but like I think it's a good thing if you guys are trying to take examples. Quit buying the latest and greatest blush. You know how long it takes, which sometimes it expires and you need to, but like to get through an actual makeup product. Also, quit buying unless it's like the one thing that I actually go through that's full size is setting spray. Buy travel size. Like I never get through, like it takes me ages. I have this Milani highlighter. I'm never going to get through that thing. Like I should just buy travel size when it comes to makeup. Even skincare, it takes a really long time for me to get through things, moisturizer, whatever. Why do I buy the full size product? Because it's okay to want to buy new things, but like if you already have it, you don't need the new thing. So if you find yourself, you're that person, buy travel size and then wait till you go through it. And then you can re-up if you really liked it or buy a different. Got it. Amazing. No buying coffee out or food delivery, which again, I don't do. This is honestly more so for Carter. We're going to set down our financial rules. Coffee every once in a while I do. I haven't in a really long time, but that's another thing. Use the Nespresso or use the coffee machine in my apartment lobby. Number 4, wait 3 days before making. I put a clothes purchase, but also I'm going to put non-essential. Okay, let me update that. When you go to the store or you're online and you're like, oh my gosh, I love this, wait 3 days. You would be shocked how many things you forget about or actually decide that you don't want. Okay, a lot of us impulse buy. And as much as I think about purchases, every once in a while, I'll make an impulse buy. And then I'm like, why the fuck did you buy that? You guys, I have 2 gift cards right now because I was walking around, and half of them is because I felt bad for the sales associate and I felt pressured to buy something. But I went back to return these tops at these stores and they don't do returns. They said, we can do it for a gift card. I'm like, oh my God, you stupid fucking bitch. So now I have these gift cards that I have to use. I'm like, Brenna, why did you impulse buy? Like, there are every once in a while where I do that. I'm like, why did you do that? If you would have waited 2 days, you would have been like, no, Brenna, you won't wear that top. Okay, so this is a little life hack. Oh, another thing. Oh, I have this in here. Deleting all shopping apps on your phone. Okay. Deleting Amazon, deleting Lululemon, deleting whatever you sit and scroll on. Like, I know a lot of people are like, what? Amazon? You can hop on Safari or your laptop and make a purchase on there. Like, it is too convenient. Oh, also unsubscribing, which I do this. I don't get a single piece of email that I don't want the second I see something. Because at one point I went through and unsubscribed to everything. Unsubscribe from all of the clothing and shopping and whatever, because you get an email and you're like, oh, sale. And then you're scrolling like, get rid of LTK. Also unfollow influencers that all they do is like sell you shit. You know, if they constantly are getting you to look at this and that and the other, if you're trying to like up your finances or just not buy things, like do that. It's okay. Like if you don't have the self-control, or if these things you realize prompt you to buy stuff, stop. Okay, so those are the goals that I have for now. We can talk again next week kind of about other things. Message me what you're doing. I love New Year's resolutions, but also like if you're sitting here and you're like, I'm gonna do this and do that and do this and do that, like take it one day at a time. And also if by January 3rd, you know, let's say you go out on New Year's Eve, then New Year's Day, you already start the year off, which is fine. Like it doesn't need to be that serious. You can start your new year January 7th. Like I always think it's good for people, like you're coming off of the holidays, you have baked goods and you have parties, and it's like you might want to eat better, but you already fucked it up on day one. Like it's not that serious. Okay. Start on January 7th, or again, just like start building these good habits, your mental health, your physical health, the eating, the financial, like you always can do these things. It doesn't need to be January 1st. February 1st, you can start. If you look back and you're like, oh, I wanted to do dry January, but you fucked up, that's okay. Okay. And don't beat yourself up. Like I think a lot of people, a week goes by and they're like, I haven't done it. So fuck it. At any point in time, you can start again and you can build those habits. So I believe in you. Just like, you know, sit down like what I just did, like tiny little guidelines. And again, if you fuck up, it's okay. We're all going to live. We're all gonna be just fine. But yeah, that's what I have, you guys. Okay, this was an hour. I know a lot of you have been loving the longer episodes. We'll get back to it. Email me at hello@brennaberg.com. Oh, wait, I had one story. Wait, let me read this to you really quick. This is just a little send off. It was a woman who just like wanted to give a little story just to make my girls feel good, which I love it. Okay, she said, hey, hope all is good and well, future Mrs. Carter. I put the and in there. Oh, she said going well, not good and well, you dumb bitch. Hey, hope all is going well, future Mrs. Carter. So I've been listening to the pod for a little bit now, and I always hear the stories asking for advice and things to do, and I just need to share my story to help the other girlies. Okay, backstory. Started dating when I was 22 and he was 27. We had our son when I was a few months shy of 24, divorced when I was 25. Okay. Now let's get into it. I thought I was marrying the love of my life. Everything was great until it wasn't. We had been dating for 6 months at the time when we started talking about wanting to get married. Everything was just like how I wanted my relationship to be. We were doing the things we loved together, laughing a bunch, going on dates, and it was always consistent. I thought I had found the one. Fast forward a few months and he had proposed and we ended up eloping at a courthouse. Everything again was still going great. A few months later, we started talking about kids and I always wanted to be a mom, so I was all for it. We ended up getting pregnant a year and a few months after we started dating. Okay. Next paragraph. I thought the pregnancy went well. I personally only have fond memories of it, but I found out he hated when I was pregnant. Of course, there's a little bickering sometimes, but I mean, people disagree. Totally. Girl, when I tell you it was like a flip of the switch when I gave birth, I was super stressed out. I was up all hours of the night. He slept through the night. I became envious. I was always exhausted. And after 6 weeks, I went back to work. Oh my God, props to you. Okay. Fortunately, I was able to bring my son. Oh, sorry. I should have kept reading before I paused. So went back to work 6 weeks. Fortunately, I was able to bring my son. Keep in mind, we worked together. Okay. All day I was working and taking care of the baby when needed, and he never helped. He barely helped at home and still expected me to clean and do everything to keep up the house. When I asked for help, he would say, I don't have time. We started arguing more. He never accepted my feelings and always would say I was overreacting or being overdramatic or asking if I was on my period again. I was livid. A few months after I gave birth, he said he wanted a divorce. And I fought it. It just became a cycle after that. Fights, then good periods, then more fights. I was so over it. Right before my son turned 1, I told him things needed to change. I stood my ground about how he never accepted my feelings or my POV on anything, and that wasn't okay. It was my final straw. My let me see if anything changes when I give him the ultimatum, but nope, nothing. Okay. Back in August, I told him I want a divorce. And Brenna, when I tell you I couldn't be more shocked at his response, I knew there was absolutely nothing that could save this. There was no way he even had an ounce of love for me anymore. His response was, okay, followed by him walking out of the room. She goes, I laughed. I actually chuckled because I was already over him by this time, and that was all the confirmation that I needed. I'm currently 25, still super young. Yes, I know. All in all, I just want the girlies to know, even if you thought things were perfect and exactly what you wanted and things didn't work out, they were meant for you. When someone tells you they don't want you anymore, let them go. At the end of all of it, you will come out alive. And believe me when I say you will be better for it. I know I am. Love you all. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for your story. That's insane. My heart breaks for you, but totally oh, you just get so wrapped up and you have a kid and you want to make it work for the child. And I was talking to my dad about this because I asked him how long my grandpa, because he, LaDonna's not his real wife. It's obviously Grandma Pinko. I was like, how long were they together? And he was like, till I was a senior, but they fought so bad. And I'm like, that's so bad. And how many years have people wasted trying to make something work? And it was good intentioned. And who's to say something would have been better? But it's like, no, having a partner that just makes you feel like shit and you're trying to raise a child and do all of these things, you have to choose yourself and your worth, and it will be okay. You literally feel like you're going to die, but you're not. You're going to be okay. Surround yourself with the people that love you. And even if you don't have people that love you, you are stronger than you know, and you're going to be fine. Going into the new year, cut off that shitty person. Enough is enough. Really stand up for yourself. Sorry, I'm going into a little preach here, but it's truly how I feel. And you are so much better off single than with somebody who is either abusive or just mean or just doesn't support you or whatever the thing is. You will be so much better by yourself. Even if you have kids, if you don't have kids, you're going to be okay. The girls are with you. Thank you so much for that story. You guys send me stories, funny stories, questions I don't know what I was going to say. hello@brennaberg.com. And thank you guys so much for being here. I hope you have the best New Year's. I hope that this new year brings so many good things. I hope it's the best year yet for you. And I'm so glad that you're here with me. Thank you for taking an hour of your week to just listen to me blab and not shut the fuck up. I appreciate it more than you know. And I love this time. I love chatting with you guys. And yeah. I'm so excited for the new year. Anyways, I'm going to be gone. Let's go. Goodbye. Have the best week. I will see you next Monday. Okay. Bye, guys.